Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel Philosmos. My name is Fumani, and before I start today's teaching, I'd just like to express all the gratitude in the world for liking, watching and subscribing to my channel. From my side, I'll always promise to give you more information and knowledge to ensure that you can transform your life. So let's get started with today's topic, which is shifting realities. Okay, so just to open up this teaching, I'd like to give you a quote from Seneca, who was a Stoic philosopher who believed firmly in the idea that each day is actually a new life. And he expressed this in the quote in which he said, "Begin at once to live and count each day as a separate life." So I'd like to further extend that quote and say, count each moment as a new life, as a separate life. So we can look at reality in terms of frames. So we have frames that exist in that direction, which is the future, and the ones existing in that direction, which are the past, and the particular one that you occupy, which is the present. So there are infinite amount of frames that we can experience as consciousness. So consciousness itself, though, is always fixated on the present frame that it is occupying, this particular purview that you have of reality. The brain, however, is actually processing billions of frames per second, but conscious attention is always fixated on one particular frame. However, movement is actually consciousness moving from frame to frame, which gives the illusion that there's actually continuity. So for instance, let's just say there's a tree in front of you and you take steps in order to get closer to that tree. So any step that you take that changes your purview of that tree, or when that tree actually has the appearance that it's getting closer and closer, is not connected to the frames in the past or the ones in the future. So any particular purview that you have of reality at any given moment is one frame. And then as you move, as you create movement in your consciousness, in your body, however movement is created, that is just you shifting from different frames. Okay, so we can actually look at this in the quantum world as well, quantum physics. Physicists acknowledge that the world is comprised of waves going in that direction and waves going in that direction. So basically waves going in opposite directions. And then when they cross connect, when they intersect, it creates what physicists call an interference pattern or a standing wave. And let me tell you why I'm telling you this, because this is probably one of the secrets of the ancient teachings and mystical traditions, and the fact that the heart is responsible for a lot of things. In fact, most of the circumstances that you experience in your life, because it is the heart that generates an electromagnetic field in which creates a standing wave. Let me repeat that for you. So we have waves, okay? And waves are moving in different directions, opposite directions. And then when they cross connect, when they intersect, they create a standing wave. So the heart, the human heart, has the ability to create a standing wave. It has the ability to create a property of matter, because matter is comprised of a standing wave. Matter is a standing wave. Matter is the appearance of two waves going in opposite directions and intersecting, creating what we call physical objects. So the heart itself is able to generate a standing wave. It's able to generate physical experiences. And here's the fact here. Here's a very interesting fact, that the heart generates 60 times, a 60 times higher electromagnetic field than the brain. So it is the heart that is the magnet. It is the heart that is the pole. So let me just write that down. Heart is the magnet. The heart is what is going to attract you to the reality that you say you desire. So what is needed, of course, because if the image in your mind is not clear, then the heart has nothing to attract you towards. Okay, so the image in your mind is your brain being an antenna that it is, shifting through potential frames. Remember, there are infinite amounts of frames that you can experience in reality, but you're always focused on one particular frame. But does not discount the fact that there are infinite frames existing right here, right now. And what your brain does is that when it is in an imaginative state, it is looking and locating different kind of frames from the future and also from the past. So what you need to do is get very clear on the particular frame that you would like to experience. So the particular frame is a particular purview of your reality. So get very detailed as to what that particular frame is, and then as you get more detailed, you realize that the heart gets more involved. Okay, obviously the frame that you imagine needs to be a frame that you particularly as an individual desire, which will ensure that your heart gets involved, and the heart is going to actually pull you and attract you to that particular frame. So the brain, what it does, it locates the particular frame that it wants to experience, and then once the heart is involved, the consciousness is going to shift itself from particular frame to frame to frame to frame to best match that frame that you held in your mind. So one way you can hone in on this capability is understanding that the location of your focus is going to play a very important part in this process. And I spoke about this a lot in my previous videos, but in essence, so let's just say you experience a negative feeling that you can tell that if you continue to get involved in that, if you continue to entertain it, it is going to attract you into a reality that you do not desire. So what you need to do is to step into pure consciousness, step back into pure consciousness and observe that feeling, especially if it's an intense feeling. You're going to encounter a lot of resistance trying to change the location of your focus, because the location of your focus, unfortunately, is always latched on to information that has the highest emotional charge. So what you need to do is step back into pure consciousness, and what pure consciousness will do will neutralize the feeling that you feel, that sensation that you feel, bring you back to a ground zero, in which then now you can take a location of your focus and then access the particular feeling that you want. So you can do that, or you can access a particular image that you'd like in your mind, which will correlate with a feeling in your heart. So Greg Braden as well was a scientist. He still is a scientist, and he studied a lot of mystical traditions, and he expressed this idea as well when he said that the feeling is the prayer. So most people in the conventional sense understand prayer as asking the universe or asking God for any particular reality to unravel itself, and that you can experience it, so that you can experience it. So what intention does, what expectation does, when you shift the location of your focus to the particular reality that you desire, what will actually transpire is that your heart will become involved. Your heart now will attract you to that particular reality. So it is the feeling. When you bring the feeling of that particular reality to present time, then you ensure that you shift to that particular frame in the quickest and most efficient way possible. So ensure that any time that you have a particular reality that you desire, if you would like to experience it with the least resistance possible, ensure that you bring the feeling here and now, and continuously do that, and ensure that the location of your focus is always focused on that momentum. It's not focused on images and feelings that contradict the particular frame that you would like to experience. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to this video. Please like, please share, or comment, and subscribe as well. Okay, so thank you very much for giving me all the support, guys, and I'm gonna end it off as I always end it off. To those who seek no more, for in the present we find it all. Thank you very much, guys.